What's good, Life Podcast? Welcome back, man. We back with another episode, bro. This is episode 51. It's crazy, bro. We have 50 Tuesday, and it's Thursday now,
Yes,
but we got
sir.
51, bro. So how was your one day off, bro? How was your Wednesday, man?
Wednesday was smooth. Wednesday was W. Really, Wednesday was one of those, just like we always say, those regroup days. Get back on the right path, get back on the right track. Um, Yesterday I did like a lot of planning for the month of July, because July, it got to be one of those months. Like July, you got to dig deep, you got to push hard, to prepare for August, because August is really where everything happens at. So I did some planning, some writing, some goals I want to achieve, everything like that. So Wednesday was a big W, and I bounced back today with a big W too. I had a lot of my goals just got rolled, and it felt good. So I'm lit right now. I'm turned right now. What about you, bro?
That's fire, bro. That's fire. And me for yesterday was a good day as well. I hit one of my goals as well for my content. I hit a sub count that I wanted to hit at this point in time. So that was pretty good. So yeah, I just did a lot of reflecting on that, reflecting on my content, seeing where I'm at, seeing how I can improve and stuff like that. Kind of the same thing, like you said, regrouping, planning, doing the same thing, man. So yeah,
For
had a
sure.
good day. And man,
That's
to get
good.
into
That's
the
good.
questions for today, bro. What's
Sir.
one overlooked habit that limits growth? Mm.
One overlooked habit that limits growth. Um, I think one thing that we overlook that's so important is patience, right? Patience is really the key to everything. And the reason it's overlooked is because we want everything now. We want everything at the moment. And if you have that habit of being impatient, it, you you it's hard to be successful, right? Because you're not enjoying the things now. You're not in the moment. And whenever you're not in the moment, you're not in a state of gratitude. Whenever you're not in a state of gratitude, you won't receive more, right? So being impatient, it really is a habit that we all have that is overlooked that we should really pay attention to, right? And the reason I say that is only because the more patient you are, the more harsh you'll be able to go through, the more hard times you're able to go through. And whenever you go through any type of hard time, you're gonna understand that it's gonna be some type of good behind it, right? But if you're not patient, you're gonna be like overthinking during the hard times. You're gonna be questioning during the hard times. You're gonna be doubting yourself during the hard times, and then it's just gonna get even harder, and it's gonna get worse and worse and worse and worse. But patience, in my opinion, is something that's overlooked, and it really, if you don't have that patience, you won't be as successful as you want to be. What
I
about
like
you,
that,
bro?
man. For me, I think it's fear. I would say fear. And I say fear because, a lot of times, the things that we're scared to do is something that's really not that big, right? And, once you start to do it, you start to see how much growth can be changed just from you doing it, just from you switching your mindset from a feared mindset to a non-fearing mindset. And that's literally the only switch that it takes to start growing, right? And we overlook fear because, we get comfortable with fear. As humans, we get real comfortable with fear. We get to the point where we start telling ourselves lies to make ourselves feel good about not doing what we're supposed to do. Like, for example, if somebody wants to become a content creator, they may tell themselves lies that, they don't want to be, nah, I don't want to be, looked at this certain way, da da da. But in reality, it's fear of being judged. That's really what it is. So if you eliminate that fear of being judged, now it's like your growth is endless because now you just posting, you're bound to grow. You're not gonna go down. You only can go up. You feel me? Once you keep doing what you're doing. So I think one thing that's overlooked is for sure fear.
Yeah, and to tie with fear, I think is the procrastination, right?
Ooh,
It's the, oh,
facts.
should I do this? Should I do that? And that is probably another big thing that really holds us back and allow us not to come to the next level. And something that's overlooked, right? We all have those moments of, oh, should I do this or should I do that? And then we start to wait and we start to wait, and then once you start to wait, now you start to gain fear, right? And I want to go back to patience. Patience is not something you just sit and wait, right? Patience is just doing, and preparing and understanding the outcome is good, and being patient for the good outcome rather than being patient and not doing nothing at all. So that's when I say patience, it's patience on the outcome rather than patience for just sitting, laying back, doing nothing.
I
That's what
get
we
what you
say. Like,
mean.
we just doing nothing, and we say, "Oh, I'm just being patient," but that's not what patience is, right? And the reason we have that type of mindset when it comes to patience is because we have procrastination. We always want to wait for the perfect time, or we always want to wait for the right
Mm,
moment. And then
facts.
when that comes back to fear, right? That ties in with fear, right? Because we say if I do it at this time, it's not going to get this amount of views. It's not going to do that, right? Or we
Yeah,
say if I wait this long, I might not have the same opportunity. That's what I'm saying. So all that ties in together, and these are all things that hurts us, but we don't realize it.
that's facts, man. That's facts, bro. Fear is definitely
So
one of
I
those
think,
things that, can make or break you, to be real. If I'm being honest, like that's real deal one thing that can make or break you because, if you let fear hold you down, it can hold you down pretty far. Like it can take you down pretty far. Like you can get lost, you can be stuck in places that you don't want to be because you're afraid to move. And it's just that little movement that gets things flowing, that gets things going. Because even for us, like starting our new businesses and starting businesses, it took one little step. It didn't take,
yeah,
us going from point A to point Z. And that's what he means in like results, right? Like, don't be impatient and be like, think you can run from A to Z. No, you got to run through A, B, C, D, E, F. You feel me? Through the whole thing. And that's being patient because if you're not patient, it's going to be hard, bro. It's gonna be hard. Like
mhm,
you literally can't go from A to Z. You gotta take your time and enjoy the moment. While you're waiting, while you being patient, you enjoy the moment because throughout the moments, those are the memories that you're gonna enjoy. Those are the experiences that you're gonna keep. And it's only you that get to experience them things, to experience the life that you want to live. So, when you doing the things that you want to do, you want to enjoy doing it, have fun doing it.
yeah,
Be patient
I
with it,
like
but
that.
have fun doing it.
I like that. And to go with that, right? We don't have a real purpose. And that's one thing
Yeah.
that really like eats a lot of us up, right? Something that we overlook is we do it for the money, we do it for the fame, we do it because somebody else did it. And you don't have no real will, you don't have no real why. And whenever you don't have a real why, you don't want to keep doing it. Like for me, somebody asked me, yo, like bro, like why do you run? And I said, because it just helps me mentally. Like
Mhm.
I use running as therapy. And when I said that to him, like, yo, I never heard of that. And I was like, yeah, because it's like I enjoy it. And so whenever you enjoy something, whenever you have a reason, a purpose to do it, you're gonna want to keep doing it. And then we, like our generation nowadays, people don't have a wanting to keep doing something, right?
Yeah,
If they don't have to see the results, or if they don't fall in love with it, it's done. And then that is a habit that doesn't lead you to success. So you got to do it for the love of it. You got to do it for the fun. Like think about like most NBA players, most soccer players, like this, that, and the biggest people. They do it for so long because they love it, right? They already have the money, they already have the fan base,
facts.
they already have all whatever they want, but they love the game, so they keep doing it. And on top of that, it's like, they do it to provide for their family. That's another reason you got to be able to do something. You got to have like it's either you love it or you're doing it for, some type of provisions for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And our generation, we don't have that. We don't have that real hunger. You know what I'm saying?
That's facts, man. Our generation is one of those that gets very distracted. Shall I say? It's
Yeah.
like we get very
Yeah.
distracted, and it's hard for a lot of people to grow with themselves, grow in peace, and just understand who they truly are because of all the distractions in the world. And it's
Yeah.
easy to get to know yourself. It just you have to be aware that you got to be aware of yourself to be real. You
Mhm.
be aware of, the things around you, the things in your crib, the things that you like, and just focusing mostly on you to be real, like focusing on your mental, your health, and all those things because those are what's gonna keep you being you, keep you being,
Yeah.
yourself, and keep you growing at the end of the day. So, you
Yeah.
know,
For
uh,
sure. And that's another thing too. We don't learn about ourselves enough, right? We don't learn what we like. We don't learn what we don't like. We don't learn about our mental. We don't take care of our ourselves. And that's probably like the biggest thing that we really should focus on. Because once you start to take care of yourself, once you start to realize more things about yourself, the closer you get to God, right? And the closer you get to God, the
yeah,
more success you obtain. So, you really want to learn about yourself. You want to take time to yourself. You want to focus on yourself. and we're so busy, caught up trying to make a lot of money, trying to do so much things, and there's no peace in that. So that's why I always tell people like whatever you do, make sure there's peace in it, because if there's no peace in it, it has no true meaning behind it.
That's facts, man. And getting to the next topic, bro, kind of, going along the lines, man, why do people fear being different?
Why do people fear being different? This is a question that, why do people fear being different? It's just a judgment, right? Whenever you're different, whenever you're not, in the same circle, whenever you're doing the opposite of someone, the first thing that people are going to say is, "Why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? Nobody does this." And
Yeah,
as a person who's being different, you don't know how to answer the question because you don't you don't know why you're doing it, right? You're just doing it because it's something you enjoy, right? And whenever that is the response, everyone wants to like antagonize you harder. They want to go like, "Are you lame?" Like nobody does that. What I'm saying, and so it's just so much pressure. I guess you can say. So the answer to that question be is just the pressure of being different. Like people think it's hard being different, but it's actually easy being different. It's just so much pressure, and people can't handle that pressure. I guess you can say.
I like that, man. For me, man, why do people fear being different? I feel like, nowadays, a lot of people try to be different, which allows them to be like other people. A lot of
Like that.
people don't want to be themselves, which will allow them
I
to be
like that.
like everybody else. If you have a
I
whole
like that.
group that nobody's being themselves, they're following somebody. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
they're all gonna follow that line. So it's like, you know, when you're trying not to be yourself, that's when you be more like other people. When the more you be
Yeah.
yourself, it's like the more different you will seem. Like they said, people will come to you though and ask you, why do you do this? Why do you do that? But in reality, you could explain to them or you could not. Like you really don't have to explain to them why you do the things that you do. At the end of the day, you're doing them because that's what you like to do. That's how you were made. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, if you ever feel like, it's pressure on you about being different, you don't want to feel that pressure. You want to
Yeah. For sure.
be as calm as you can, right? So letting off all that pressure is just being yourself. If you being your true self and anybody judges you, just know like they gonna talk about you regardless, man. They talk about the man upstairs, man. Like they gonna talk about you regardless. And that fear
Yeah.
of judgment is just like it is one of the hardest things to break and like not care about. But I feel like, well, for me, I feel like sports help me not care what people think. You get what I'm saying? Because us playing sports, you get talked about no matter what. Whether you're doing good, whether you're doing bad, somebody got something to say. You know what I'm saying? And they might not say it to you, but they got something to say. And there's all types of people watching and all types of sports. So for me, as a ex athlete, I'd say definitely sports help me get to the point where it's like I'm able to be myself. I don't
Yeah.
gotta try to be different. I ain't trying to be other people. You just be yourself and you be your true self.
And that's a good point, as you said, right? Being different is being yourself. And the reason you can't answer those questions on, it's hard to answer those questions on why you're being different, why you're doing that, because you don't. It's hard to explain how you just being yourself, right? Like it's hard
Yeah.
to just say it's just me, because people think you're trying to be different, so they think you're trying to appear somebody else. And so that's why, like, when it comes to being different, it's really one of those things, is how long can you just be you, right? Because
Mm,
that's where the real big you is at, right? A lot of the times people can, let's say for instance, people can go to the gym for, let's say, 2 3 months, and other people see like, oh dang, he doing good. I wonder what he's trying to do, like why he being different, like what's going on. Then that person stops going to the gym, and now everybody thinking, oh dang, he was just taught, he wasn't doing nothing, right? But like, you can't fake longevity, right? You can't fake you. So if you're you for, the rest of your life, or if you're you for, 2 3 years, people are gonna realize, okay, he wasn't being different. He was just being him. Like he just became him.
yeah.
And to go to add on to what you're saying about, like, you don't have to explain. You really don't have to explain, right? Like, it's hard to explain. That's why I say you just continue, just keep showing. Like the way you show people, that you're not being different, you're just being you, is by your action, right? You continuously show your action, you continuously do the right thing. And like you said, bro, people gonna hate on you regardless, no matter if you're doing good, no matter if you're doing bad, no matter if you're doing in the middle, right? Someone you're always gonna have someone to something saying something about you. Like you can be doing, the best ever, right? And
Mm-hmm.
someone's going to say something about you. And
Yeah.
I think like the a big point for me that made me realize like, I don't care what people say is I realized that the only person can judge me is God, right? So everything I
Ooh,
do
yep.
is yeah, like I fear and judge and I fear and I'm only judged by God. So why should I care about what somebody says about me? Or
Yep.
why should I care about how somebody feel about me, right? And then once that like it clicked into my brain, I start to do more like things to please God, right? And I started to do things more that was fulfilling to me. And once I started to do that, people started to be like, "Oh, you different, like you changed." But the whole time, it's what I was placed on earth to do. So like
Yep.
pretty much like, if everyone was placed on earth to do what they're supposed to do, we would all be the same. But when we get out of line, when we start, drifting away, start not being us, start trying to be like everyone else, that's what makes us different.
Yeah, I agree, bro. And something that you brought up was change, bro. And I feel like change is one of those things that's very important. And that's something that you should want, right? When people ask you, oh, or they say you change, it's like you're not supposed to stay the same. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
not supposed to stay the same, and you don't want to get worse. So you have to change, right? And if you're changing, most likely you're going to change for the better. Because if you're not going to
Better.
change for the better, you're just going to be the same. Exactly. So if you're changing for the better at the end of the day. Whatever that change may be, don't be scared to change. Don't be scared to rewire your whole brain. Don't be scared to start all over, bro. To pretty much break yourself down and build yourself back up, bro, because that's something that you might want to do, and that's gonna take a lot of change. It's gonna take a lot of time, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be worth it in the end. That change is gonna be worth it for your health, for your mental, for your body, for you in general, for God, right? Because at the end of the day, once you start changing, you're gonna change for God. You're not gonna change for nobody else on earth. You're gonna change for the man upstairs, right?
Yeah.
And once you start changing for the man upstairs, he's gonna bless your life. He's gonna change your life in many different ways. He's gonna change your heart to be good in many different ways. So it's like once you allow change to be a part of you, it's easy to keep changing. It's easy to keep growing. You know, when people ask you, you say
Hmm.
you change, you be like, okay, that's good. Like I'm glad I changed. I'm happy I changed. Thank you for telling me. Now you let me know that I did change. At the end of the day, that was the point of me growing, was to
Yeah.
change. So when people say, "Oh, you change," be like, "Thank you. That's a compliment. That's good." You feel me?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
that's what I was.
Yeah, I like that. I like that because a lot of the times people realize you change before you change, right? And the only reason I say that is because you're just adjusting to the next life. You're adjusting to the new life. So you're not forcing a change. You're just becoming, right? So whenever you do, and like that's how I look at it, right? If nobody's hating on you, if nobody's coming to you, if nobody's doing, you're not doing enough, right? And I live by like I want to be the one. I wouldn't say seen, but I want to be the one that's like making a difference in my own life to where it's like, okay, it's noticeable. And
Yeah.
the reason I say that is only because it's like you can have an impact on somebody else's lives, right? Like let's say for instance, if somebody calls and say, "Yo, bro, you changed. What made you change?" I can say, "Yo, bro, like, man, I was smoking, I was doing this, and I wasn't happy. I started to do this, I started to do this, now I'm happy. And now what they're going to do, they're going to stop smoking and start doing what I'm doing. And not saying that they're being like me, but they're becoming them because, like I said, we're all placed on earth for the same thing. Like we're all placed on earth to worship God, take care of our bodies, do the right things. So he's not realizing in that process he's becoming a better version of himself. So it's so many ways to like help guide people by being a good you, and that's why for me is why I guess I can say I changed only because I started to see that I had an impact on other people around me, and I started to see I had an impact on the youth. For me, that's how that was for my purpose. Like now, like last year around this time, TikTok went viral. This. I was with a whole bunch of kids. Parents like, oh, the kids love me. This, and I started to realize like, yo, like this is way better than me up smoking at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then boom, that change happened for me. So everyone has a different calling, everyone has a different purpose, everyone has a different way. You just have to find that way and stick to it. A lot of the times we don't stick to that way because we don't. It's change is very uncomfortable. That's the biggest thing,
Yeah.
right? Being being you is very uncomfortable because you're not used to it. But once you like, settle in, keep going and keep flowing, it's so beautiful and it's the best thing ever. You know what I'm saying?
That's facts, bro. I agree, bro. Once you start
Yeah,
changing, it's like inevitable after that, bro. I ain't even gonna
yeah.
cap. It's
and
just
and
inevitable,
and I like
bro.
to say like the first change is the hardest change. Like that first step of saying, okay, I want different now is his hardest step. But
Yeah,
over time, you're gonna always keep changing. You're gonna always keep growing. You're gonna always keep improving. But it's gonna be very subtle, very beautiful, very what's the word? Very You're gonna notice it, right? You're gonna be like, oh wow, this just happened to me. Oh wow, I remember when this happened. Like for me, I'm having nostalgia because last year around this time, this is kind of like my area of like changing, locking in, focus on the right thing. So now that I'm like back in that moment again, it feels good to see the growth. I think that's the biggest thing too. Once
yeah.
you start to see the growth, you want to keep growing. You want to keep unlocking levels. You want to keep getting to that next standard. You know what I'm saying? You start to push yourself more too.
I agree, bro. And that's the thing, bro. You want to push yourself, challenge yourself, give yourself challenges. That's the main thing,
Hmm.
bro. Give yourself challenges. Challenges is gonna help you break fear. To be real, like
Yeah.
once you start challenging yourself, you're gonna see how far you can accomplish, what things you can do, and how far you can go. And those challenges, you can mark them off too. Like once you start marking them
Yeah.
off, you start seeing your progress. You start being thankful, and you just keep going. You just keep going. Now you got new
Want
goals,
more? Yeah.
new plans, and you just keep growing and growing each and every day, bro. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty behind it. It's like you getting to see you tally off every mark. Like you know what I'm saying? You marking it off. Oh, I did this today. Oh, I did this. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this tomorrow. Like you just constantly
Yeah.
growing like that. You start to trust yourself. You start to love yourself. You start to trust the process. You start to love the
Yeah.
process. You love the plan, and you just start being thankful that your plan is going according to the plan. So
Yeah.
I think change and growing is definitely one thing that's going to have to be applied to everybody's life, bro, for sure.
Sure. And I think like the biggest thing what's wrong with our generation is we say, I'm gonna just wait till 25 to, do this. I'm still young. Let me party. Let me do this. And
Yep.
that's where we go wrong at, right? Because we think once you become 25, it's gonna be easy, you're gonna be able to do more. But no, it's the same process as being at 21, right? You just start that process early. Just because you start at 25 doesn't mean, you're gonna be on track with the people who at 25. These people been, locked in since 21, 18, 17. So they're more ahead of the game, right? They got a true system. They got a true a true plan. But if you starting at 21, 25, you got to rebuild yourself. You got to do all this. You got to,
Yeah.
you got to get a. Yeah, it's the same process. Just because you're doing that at 25 doesn't make it any, less than or greater than you're doing at 21. You know what I'm saying? And I think, in my opinion, when it comes down to fear, is just you have no trust for yourself, right? And whenever you don't have trust for yourself, you can't obtain what you really want to obtain. You can't get to where you want to get to because it's just a fact of like you're not comfortable with yourself. You don't know yourself enough. And the way you know yourself enough is by challenging yourself. You push yourself to your limits. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you push yourself beyond your limits so you can, max out capacity.
Facts.
Yeah.
Hey man. I ain't got no more questions, bro. You got any more questions for this one?
Nah, that's
Nah.
really it. That's a smooth one.
Dang, this is low key short, man. But hey, what's your closing words for today, brother?
Um, my closing word is gonna be, push yourself, challenge yourself, do something you never done before, and just win the moment. Don't think about winning, the month, the week. Just win the moment, win whatever you're thinking about, win in that moment, and seek for growth, seek for knowledge as well too. What about you, bro?
Mm, uh, uh, don't fear change, man. Don't fear change. Don't fear being uncomfortable. Um, just delete fear, man. Delete fear out your vocab. Fear shouldn't even be a thing, man. Just either have it as a lesson or a W. You know what I'm saying? So don't take, you know what I'm saying? Don't take things as a L. Take things as a lesson or a win. You get what I'm saying? So That's what I say for them, man. Delete fear out your
Nah,
vocab for
sure.
sure. But yeah,
That's
man.
facts, bro. Yeah.
This is episode 51. Love y'all boys, man. We'll be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern
Sure.
time. Love y'all boys, man. Stay safe, stay
Oh yeah,
blessed.
boy. Stay safe.
We out here, man. Peace.